The 2018 Chevrolet Equinox. The second-generation Chevy Equinox hit showrooms for the 2010 model year and went through a refresh for the 2016 model year. Despite the refresh, the second-gen model is due to be replaced for 2018 and GM has finally spilled the beans. The next-gen model sports a revised exterior to go with a new engine lineup that also includes the only diesel engine available in the compact SUV segment in North America. On top of this, it's the first member of the Chevy family to get an all-turbocharged, multi-engine lineup. A handful of safety features are available, there's a new surround camera to talk about, and interior cargo space has increased to 63.5 cubic feet with the rear seats folded down. It should also be noted that through 2016, the Equinox was a midsize SUV, but for 2017 it has been classified as a compact. With the Equinox being Chevy's second best seller, only beat by the Chevy Silverado, it's not too surprising that Chevy is ushering in a new generation just 1 year after the facelifted model made its debut. Of course, because of this, there aren't as many exterior changes as we're used to seeing with generational shifts. And, while GM is calling this a 2018 model, it will go on sale in the first few months of 2017. With that said, let's hurry up and take a good look at this model before Chevy announces a 2019 model. Updated September 23, 2016, Chevrolet dropped the official details on the 2018 Chevrolet Equinox. Continue reading to learn more about the Chevrolet Equinox. Exterior. Let me start out by saying that it looks like the Equinox has been hitting the gym lately. The hood is more muscular now, as is the front fascia. But, while its biceps and abs are looking good, the fenders are nowhere near as wide as they once were, so it's pretty clear that the Equinox has been skipping leg day for quite some time. As I said before, the hood is more muscular, but it doesn't wrap around the front quite as much, making more room for an upper grille of sorts. Instead of having that stand-alone vent and the grille with a bow tie in between, the emblem is now mounted to that upper grille while is now chromed out. Overall, the body has a more modernized look and is a massive improvement over the current model. That upper grille makes direct contact with the radiator grille that now features a wider frame and large rectangular mesh. The lower part of the fascia still has that weird cladding, but the air dam is now butted up directly to the bottom of the fascia. The fog lamps are about half as wide as they were before, which gives them a more recessed look and adds a little more character to the front end. The headlights are now thinner and sleeker, coming to a sharp point at the radiator grille and a sharp point at the fender. It's a more modern look and a massive improvement over the current model. Moving over to the sides, I'm a little saddened by the lack of character around the wheel wells. What was once a muscular, commanding appearance is now boring and flat. There is a small contour line follows that of the wheel arches, but it's rather lame, to be honest. The same body line that runs parallel to the axis of the door handles and the contour line just above that cladding carries over from the current model. The cladding on the bottom has also been toned down quite a bit. The side view mirrors are a bit thinner than on the current model, while the stationary glass in the rear door gets a new, more defined look. Walking around to the rear of the new Equinox, we can spot a number of changes. The most noticeable being that the roof is now sloped downward in the rear by a couple of degrees. This gives the rear end more of a crossover look as opposed to the commanding SUV look of the current model. Next up, there is no pillar separating the rear quarter glass and the glass of the hatch. Instead, the two glass panels almost meet up, with the hatch having sides integrated into the rear overhang. It is a much cleaner look and gives the rear end a sense of depth. Still, it takes away from that SUV look. Down below, the rear hatch takes on a new look with a redesigned plate recess that is stylish and sleek. The headlights are much smaller now and are two-piece units. The cladding on the rear fascia, like the rest of the cladding, has been toned down some, leveling out the aggressive nature that we've been used to. The car you see in the images here is sporting the same wheels found on the current model, so nothing new to report in that department. Side-by-side comparison. The competition. The compact SUV segment is excessively competitive, with more options to choose from than you can count on two hands. One could argue that some of the stiffest competition comes from models like the Ford Escape, left, the Toyota RAV4, right, and even the Mitsubishi Outlander, center. The Ford Escape recently went through a minor facelift for 2017 that gave it a much better and more modern look compared to the 2016 model. Compared to the new Equinox, the Escape is quite similar. It has a large radiator grille up front with chrome trim, and a wide-mouth air dam down below. The fog lights are even recessed into the corners of the fascia, with the recesses featuring a similar display of body lines. As far as the side profile goes, the Escape is a little more sculpted, featuring dominant body lines and well-pronounced wheel arches. The rear quarter glass is more forward-sitting than that of the Equinox, giving the Escape a sportier appearance overall. In the rear, both models have a hatch that reminds of a minivan, but the Equinox has that wraparound-looking rear quarter glass that makes it look wider from the rear end. Moving over to the Toyota RAV4 gets you a more modern look with short, wide openings for radiator airflow. The fog lights on the RAV4 are also recessed dramatically into the fascia but are flanked by the wildly sculpted body lines of the front fascia. The side profile of the RAV4 provides a somewhat boxy appearance thanks to the sharp upper body line and the flat-topped wraparound taillights. Of particular note here is that the body of the RAV4 is actually wider below the waistline. Around back, the RAV4 is quite sporty. It doesn't remind so much of a minivan back here, and the taillights are unique compared to other models in this segment. A long overhang at the top of the hatch adds just a little extra character to an interesting design. Then you've got the Mitsubishi Outlander. It recently went through a facelift for the 2016 model year and is expected to see a generational shift in the next couple of years. For now, however, the Outlander has a pretty unique design compared to the other models in this segment. The radiator grille and air dam are kind of mishmashed together and separated by a gloss black insert, while the lower edges of the headlights and the outside edges of the grille are outlined in a thick chrome strip. Like the Equinox, the side profile is pretty mundane with light body lines and little flaring around the wheel arches. In the rear, you'll find massive taillight units that are divided between the rear quarter panels and the rear hatch. There is no overhang above the rear hatch, but the lower fascia sports a big piece of black cladding with recessed reverse lights and reflectors. A small body-colored insert resides at the very body to provide a bit of contrast. Interior. While the outside sports some welcome changes, the inside isn't exactly anything to write home about. There are some good changes, but there are some bad changes as well. The first thing I noticed is that the dash isn't as stylish anymore. It sports the same overall look, but it's now exaggerated and bigger than before. This takes away from the wraparound look that worked so well in the 2016 model. The center stack has been revised and is now shorter than before now that the dash is more upright. A 7 or 8-inch MyLink infotainment system is available on all models and now protrudes from the center stack just a bit instead of being recessed. The bezel around the infotainment system has been dumbed down quite a bit with silver surrounding just the center vents, which have also been slightly redesigned. A 7 or 8-inch MyLink infotainment system is available on all models and now protrudes from the center stack just a bit instead of being recessed. Down below, the center console has a familiar look. You've got the gear shifter on the left and a pair of cup holders positioned on the right. The storage area ahead of the shifter is still in place, however, it's not as tall before and is a little bit wider. The armrest that doubles as a lid to the rear console area is now stitched in the middle. I don't know what Chevy was thinking here, as this isn't very appealing at all compared to the armrest on the current model. Ahead of the driver's seat, the steering wheel took on some updates. The center up has been reshaped and is no longer square, while the buttons on the left and right spokes have also been revised. The trim around the buttons is now thinner and shinier than before. The bottom spoke isn't quite as wide and is no longer hollow in the middle. Head of the steering wheel is a revised instrument cluster. It still features the same two small gauges in the top, middle, and two larger, outside gauges for engine and vehicle speed. The driver information center in the middle is now wider and is now rectangular. Because of this, all of the gauges are spread farther apart. It makes the area in front of the driver seem a little more open despite the fact that the dash is now larger than before. As far as features go, the interior is available in various upholstery options, including a denim-style seat fabric. The rear has a kneeling rear seat, which means that the seats fold flat into the floor. Apparently, Chevy decided to catch up with everyone else in that regard. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are included with both MyLink systems, while an OnStar 4G LTE hotspot is available at a premium. Cargo room for the rear is rated at 63.5 cubic feet with the seats folded down. In comparison, the Honda CR-V offers 70.9 cubic feet and the Cx-5 offers 64.8 with the seats folded. Side-by-side comparison. Competing designs. The inside of the Ford Escape is actually a pretty pleasing place to be. The dash features sharp, sculpted designs that scream uniqueness while also transitioning into the door trim panels almost seamlessly. The infotainment system is recessed into the center stack, but the controls are located just below on a little plateau that is somewhat difficult to use when driving. As is the usual case, the rear seats fold down for extra cargo room, and upholstery can be had in leather on higher trim levels. Ford's Sync 3 infotainment system comes standard, and can be equipped with Sync Connect, a feature that allows you to track your vehicle from a mobile device and control certain features like locking, unlocking and starting the engine. Sirius XM and navigation with Sirius Traffic is also available as an option. Moving over to the Toyota RAV4, you get a completely different monster as far as the interior goes. The dash is flat on top but features a contrasting insert on the edge that also houses a clock and the hazard button. The infotainment display is built into the center stack and is flanked by a rectangular vent on each side. Like the Escape, the controls for the infotainment system are located just below the screen, but they are angled downward a bit, ultimately making it easier to access them. A 6.1-inch screen is standard while a 7-inch screen can be had if you're willing to pay for it. Navigation can be had on any trim, but on lower trim levels, it's offered via the use of Scout GPS Link, a mobile app that will send navigation information from your phone to the system. All told, it's not a bad setup, but you have to go with the higher trim levels if you want something worth writing home about. The Mitsubishi Outlander has an inviting cabin, but it's a little dated compared to models like the Chevy Equinox and Ford Escape. The Outlander comes standard with a 6.1-inch touchscreen display that has an integrated rear-view camera. Hands-free link system with Bluetooth connectivity is also standard. Moving up from the entry-level model gets you a 7-inch display, push-button start, heated front seats, and connectivity via Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Moving up to the SEL trim will get you leather upholstery and 8-way adjustable front seats, and there's also a 710-watt Rockford Fosgate audio system with a total of 9 speakers, one of which is a subwoofer. As usual, the rear seats fold down for extra cargo room. All told, most of the models in this segment offer similar amenities, so it really comes down to what interior you really like the best and your preference in audio systems. Drivetrain. The drivetrain department is actually pretty big news for the Equinox. Not only is it the first Chevy model to feature a fully turbocharged multi-engine lineup, but it's also the first time a turbodiesel has been offered in the compact SUV segment here in North America. Starting the engine lineup is a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. The engine comes from Chevy's Ecotec family, uses direct injection, and GM estimates that it delivers 170 horsepower. Word has it that it can achieve 31 mpg on the highway in FWD form, however, that has yet to be verified by the EPA. The other gasoline drinker is an optional 2.0-liter 4-banger that, according to GM, comes with 252 horsepower on tap, not bad for a compact SUV. Torque figures have yet to be released, but 90% of the engine's torque is said to be available from 2,000 to 5,600 revolutions per minute, while maximum torque comes in between 2,500 and 4,500 revolutions per minute. And, on the diesel front, boy that feels weird to say for a Chevy SUV, there is a 1.6-liter turbodiesel that pumps out 136 horsepower between 3,500 and 4,000 revolutions per minute and 236 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 revolutions per minute. This engine features a variable geometry turbo and stop-start technology that helps it achieve up to 40 mpg on the highway. That 2.0-liter gasoline engine is said to only push 28 mpg on the highway, so this diesel promises to be the most fuel-efficient of them all. With a wide range of power output and fuel economy from these engine options, there's a choice for everybody. With all of this said, there are a few other things to talk about here. First, when equipped with that 2.0-liter, the new Equinox can pull up to 3,500 pounds, which requires a V6 in the current model. Power delivery is handled by GM's new 9-speed automatic transmission, and all models can be had with switchable AWD. Remember how I said the Equinox had been going to the gym? Well, I wasn't lying. The new model has lost nearly 400 pounds, which is a sizable decrease of 10% over the current model. In comparison, the CR-V offers a maximum towing capacity of just 1,500 pounds, while the Cx-5 can pull 2,000 pounds. Compared to the competition, the Equinox has at least a little bit going for it. Neither the Mazda Cx-5 or the Honda CR-V are available with a diesel engine here in the US. The CR-V brings just 185 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque to the party. Fuel economy can be as good as 29 mpg in the Honda with a CVT transmission. The Cx-5 comes standard with a 2.5-liter 4-banger that offers up 184 horsepower. While that's a little underpowered compared to GM's smaller 2.0-liter, the Cx-5 is able to obtain an EPA estimated 35 mpg on the highway, which is quite a bit better than that of the gasoline-powered Equinox, but is beat out by the underpowered diesel with its expected 40 mpg. The competition. The Ford Escape can be had with one of 3 engines. The entry-level model comes with a 2.5-liter that delivers 168 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque. It achieves 21 mpg in the city and 29 mpg on the highway, but is only available with a front-wheel drive layout. Moving up the trim line, the next option is a 1.5-liter EcoBoost unit with auto start-stop functionality. It produces 179 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque and can be had in front-wheel drive or with Ford's intelligent 4WD system. Finally, there's the 2.0-liter twin-scroll EcoBoost with the same start-stop functionality but even better power output with 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque on tap. All 3 engines are mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Moving over to the Toyota RAV4 means you don't really get a choice of what engine lies under the hood. The standard unit across all trim levels is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that delivers 176 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque. There is an XLE hybrid trim level that combines the same engine and has a net system rating of 194 horsepower. Toyota really went out of their way with that electric motor, huh? Typical fuel economy is rated at 23 mpg in the city and 30 mpg on the highway, but the HLE hybrid can manage 34 mpg in the city. Its highway rating remains unchanged at 30 mpg. Non-hybrid models can pull a near pointless 1,500 pounds, while the XLE hybrid can do an extra 250 pounds. For the record, the range-topping RAV4 SE isn't set up for towing, so you better look elsewhere if you want to pull anything at all. If you're considering the Mitsubishi Outlander, you'll probably find a large number of them on the lot with a 2.4-liter 4-banger that delivers 166 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque. This engine manages to pull 25 mpg in the city and 30 mpg on the highway for all 3 lower trim levels. All 3 lower trim levels also come standard with front-wheel drive but can be had with Mitsubishi's all-wheel control system. On a side note, the Outlander can also be had in GT 3.0 SAWC form, which comes with a 3.0-liter V6 that has 224 horsepower and 215 pound-feet on tap, and all-wheel drive is standard equipment. Fuel economy is rated at 20 mpg in the city and 27 mpg on the highway. Safety. While safety is a big topic these days, and it should be, GM doesn't like to include safety features as optional equipment. This is why there is such a long list of safety equipment that is available. These features include GM's new surround vision camera, which allows the driver to view the entire perimeter of the vehicle by looking at the infotainment screen. There's also a new safety alert seat, forward collision alert with distance indicator, low-speed forward automatic braking, lane keep assist with lane departure, lane change alert with blind zone alert, and rear cross traffic alert. While these features may not come as standard, when properly equipped, they'll beat out safety options available from Mazda in the Cx-5, which at the time of this writing, doesn't offer any autonomous features or alerts. If you go with a Honda CR-V, you can get a multi-angle rearview camera on all models, while a collision mitigation braking system, forward collision warning system, and lane departure warning system is only available as standard on the CR-V Touring, but can be had with the Honda Sensing package on some of the other trim levels. Prices. The 2018 Equinox has officially been given an MSRP of $24,475 in its entry-level form. That's a price increase of $1,375 over the 2017 model. That price includes the destination charge but doesn't include things like tax, title, and whatever fees the dealership wants to add onto the total cost of the car. In comparison, the Mitsubishi Outlander starts out at $23,495 while you can get into a Toyota RAV4 for as little as $24,910 or the Ford Escape for $23,600. Competition is tight in this segment, so if pricing is really what motivates you, the Outlander or Escape will be the cheaper options. But, you might find yourself willing to pay a little more for the amenities available in the new Equinox or the RAV4. Competition. Honda CR-V. The Honda CR-V was refreshed for the 2015 model year, which means we should be seeing the next-gen model around the same time we see the new Equinox makes its debut. The CR-V, like the Equinox, is available in front-wheel or all-wheel drive form, features seating for up to 5 passengers, and offers similar cargo room. On the outside, the CR-V has a sportier look compared to the current Equinox and features an upscale interior comparable to that of more expensive SUVs on the market. Here in the US, the CR-V is available with just one engine, a 2.4-liter IVTEC that delivers 185 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque, and a combined fuel economy of 29 mpg in front-wheel drive with a CVT transmission. As of the time of this writing, the CR-V starts out at $23,745 for the entry-level, two-wheel drive LX trim and can cost as much as $33,395 for the range-topping touring trim with all-wheel drive and a CVT transmission with sport mode. Read our full review on the Honda CR-V here. Mazda Cx-5. The Mazda Cx-5 is a baby in the SUV market, being introduced as a brand new model for the 2013 model year. It went through its mid-cycle refresh for the 2016 model year, so we should be seeing the second-gen Cx-5 around the same time we see the next-gen CR-V and Equinox as well. Until that happens, the current Cx-5 features a sporty and pleasing exterior with a sleek profile and gentle body language. Inside, the current model isn't quite as upscale as the CR-V or the Equinox, and the infotainment screen just sticks out like a sore thumb. With that said, the Cx-5 is still in its first generation, so the next-gen model should bring some significant improvements. Under the hood, the current Cx-5 is available with a 2.0-liter SKYACT-IVG 4-cylinder or a 2.5-liter SKYACT-IVG 6-cylinder. Power for the 4-banger sits at 155 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque, while its larger counterpart delivers 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet. As of the time of this writing, the Cx-5 starts out at $21,795 for the entry-level sport trim, climbs to $25,215 for the mid-level touring trim, and commands $28,570 for the range-topping Grand Touring trim. Read our full review on the Mazda Cx-5 here. Conclusion. And there you have it. You now know all about the new Equinox as well as some of its primary competitors. Choosing which one is best for you might be tough, but it will really come down to what you want to do with it. If you're going to be hauling a lot of cargo, your best bet is the CR-V as it offers quite a bit more room. If you want something really stylish, the Mazda really wins the battle at this point. On the towing front, you really want to go with the Equinox as it beats out the competition by as much as 1,500 pounds when equipped with that 2.0-liter. Then again, if you just want a family hauler, you could go with any of the models we've discussed here. Pricing-wise, it's really so close, it's probably best to look at the available technologies and capabilities to get the best model for your lifestyle. Love it. Some good changes outside, slightly larger than current model new diesel engine. Leave it. What happened to those wheel arches?
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.